Hello, everybody. It is day 2 of Uranus Goes Retrograde Summit. I am super excited. I feel like that's been the entire keyword of this summit is excited. But I am so super excited about the guests I have on today and what we're going to talk about because this is such a huge topic with this transit. So right now we're moving through Uranus going retrograde in the sign of Taurus. And Uranus is awakenings. It's shifts, it's changes, it's, breaking you open and breaking the patterns that no longer serve so you can step into a newer, better, higher consciousness and expression of energy. This is all happening in the sign Taurus, and Taurus is money. It's self-worth, it's resources, it's what you have to use to supply and support your mission. And there is so much energy collectively around our relationship with money, especially when it comes to the spiritual folks, people who are healers and coaches and light workers and lovers. And even if you don't do it professionally, doing it in our lives, there's this whole belief that money is evil, right? And it's not. It totally isn't. And so today, I'm super excited to talk to you about why money is important and why it matters and how we can level and elevate our relationship to money with Jennifer. So let me go ahead and get a second to see if she's on here. Jennifer, if you are, say hello. And then we can get started. Hello. Hi, Stacy. How are you doing today? So we're just waiting for Jennifer to hop on, and then we'll get started. I am, seriously, I can't tell you how excited I am for this conversation. I was just talking to Jennifer this morning. I was talking to Jennifer last night. We have a lot of really juicy, good stuff. Okay, so I see her typing on Messenger. Let's see what she says. She doesn't see it. Okay. All right, let me see if I can tag her real quick. Thank you guys for being patient with me as I'm getting all of this set up. Okay, let me go to my page. Oh, there you are. Okay, so you got there before I could tag you. Hi, Jennifer.
Hi.
Hi. Sorry, I was like, I gotta go tag you, but I didn't have the live up on my computer and I can't tag on my laptop or my phone. Oh goodness, what do I do? Hurry, let's figure it out.
That's okay.
Yeah, we're here. So, oh my goodness, guys, I was telling you how excited I am about this conversation. And today I have with me Jennifer Hourston, who is a financial focus coach and energy healer. She runs Rays of Harmony, which the link is up above to go follow her, like her, and work with her more over there. And I'm so excited to talk to you today.
Yay!
Okay, you were telling me beforehand, you call yourself a financial focus coach, and there's a reason behind this. Why? Why do you focus on that terminology instead of maybe a money mindset coach or something like that?
Okay, so financial focus is like looking at your money and focusing not just on how you think about it, but how you feel about money, because that's a huge indicator of like where we can shift things, how we can view money differently, and how we can learn to really have a great relationship with it, because money is all about the relationship aspect of it. And I think a lot of people see money as yes, it's a resource and it's a tool, but there's also this relationship piece to it that's really important, especially when we're trying to improve our money and what it's bringing for us.
I love
So so financial focus just seemed a perfect fit.
it does. I like that. And I like that it goes beyond just how you think about money. It's how you feel. So when it comes to how we feel about money, what do you notice to be like the number one, or is there a number one? What are the most kind of common feelings people have around money that people maybe in the audience today would recognize, or even ourselves would recognize going through and moving through, that you notice that is kind of a call of attention to do work or to shift energy around it? Because Oftentimes we think if, our bills are being paid, then things are okay. But there's also, too, there's more than that. There's more to kind of explore.
Yeah,
So what do you notice is kind of
definitely.
the feelings people receive?
So, a big one for my clients is feeling like money can't support them in their wants and their needs.
Ooh.
They feel like money is something that if they want too much of it, that means
Mm-hmm.
they're selfish or they're greedy, or
Mm-hmm.
that, they're going to be viewed by other people as, oh my gosh, like all you care about is money. And it's like, well, no,
Mm-hmm.
you can have money support every area of your life and still be a decent human being.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, do you even notice too that money in the hands of someone who has the values of being a decent human being and having, or having the values of being kind and compassionate, like, do you notice that the money goes to better places? Or, I mean, once they move past some of those fears around, I'm selfish for wanting money, like, versus someone who maybe doesn't really care about how they impact society, but they want that money and they want to call it in. Like, it's almost kind of beneficial for people who struggle with wanting to be a good person and balancing wanting money to have the money. It's like better in their hands in a sense. Um, so can you talk to me a little bit more about like the selfishness and how we move past that? And like, we're talking today about self-worth and money because they're both ruled by Taurus in astrology. And Taurus is, what you have to build what you want to do. It's your resources. And so half the time resources are money, but half the time our resources is how we feel about ourselves. So where do you see collectively that shift going between self-worth and money? Like, how do you see that opening up and changing as a society and your clients, the people you work with, energetically? Like, what are you noticing?
I'm noticing that people are, really moving away from the lack
Mm-hmm.
mindset and poverty mindset. So people are more like embracing more of, um, as a collective, like just all of the energy of um, wanting more and having like being able to receive more. Because I feel like when we're set on the no, I can't have this, or no, this isn't for me. Maybe somebody would be more benefiting of having this. Like, I feel like that's starting to shift. And people are stepping into their power and recognizing
Mm-hmm.
that, the money that has been provided over the years is not enough to be able to do everything that we want and need.
Mm-hmm.
So this is kind of where, that contradiction comes in, because we want to feel like there's enough and there that everybody can have a piece of the pie.
Mm-hmm.
And still at the same time, we're recognizing that what we've been provided
Mm-hmm.
isn't enough. So it's like, how do you balance that and how do you move through that? Because we should be able to have everything that we want and need. And we
Mm-hmm.
should be able to have, you know, everything that we desire, and not just on a level of money and things, material things,
Yeah.
but in a sense of like our relationships with our partners and having an abundance of, love and
Mm-hmm.
play and connection and interest in how their day was, and
Mm-hmm.
all of those things that come along with that kind of a relationship. And then the relationship with our kids, because cell phones and everything, social media, games is taking over.
Mm-hmm.
So we're feeling like, okay, well, how can we move away from that and get more into the space of the connection between, the physical relationship and being able to go out and do things together, and like having more of a connection in that sense. So I feel like there's this big shift coming because technology was created so that we can advance as the human race.
Mm-hmm.
But what's happened is that we've created this kind of disconnect, and it's, people are wanting more of that connection. So,
Mm-hmm.
and that relates to our money, because when we're accepting and receiving that connection, money starts to flow, and it's coming in, more waves of abundance rather than the lack and disconnect.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you notice though when sometimes like Oh, Donna says, so true about cell phones. Had my grandboys for 2 days and they did not want to leave that phone. And Uranus rules the internet. It rules technology. It rules innovation. And because we're going through this retrograde, it's a great time to think about what kind of, how we're treating innovation, what we're doing, like what thought is behind, what we use cell phones for. Can you use them to for family functions, we'll play the heads up game where you put your phone on top of your head and it says a word, you play charades, and we kind of play it like that, and we have to guess charades. So we're using the cell phones to have family fun. It's like kind of like bridging that gap. But can you talk to me a little bit more about, like, you mentioned that, like, contradiction between wanting more and wanting to feel like we have enough, but recognizing that we don't necessarily have enough. When we see that disconnect between the money we want and the money that we have, how do we bridge that gap? Because so often with, like, law of attraction and manifestation, which goes like hand in hand in money talk, I think, and how I've seen it, we talk about how, like, you have to have positive thoughts, you have to feel good about your situation, and yet there's so often times, especially around money, where we don't feel good. So when we notice that contrast, like, what's the best way to kind of approach that, to not, like, sabotage what it is you're trying to manifest or bring in, not to be ungrateful for what you have either, but to expand on it and actually make, like, real progress in that way.
Yeah, so a big thing with this, and this was something that I had a lot of trouble grasping in the beginning, because I was told, oh, in order to feel abundant and have money coming in, you have to feel it in the present right now. And I was like, well, how am I supposed to feel that way when I'm not able to go on vacation with my friends and I'm not able to do all these other things? And it's like, I'm just barely getting by with the bills that I'm paying and what's going on. So I started to look at, like, I actually stopped and looked at where I was, because you can't bring in more without looking at where you are now.
Yeah.
And then you look at, how is that money supporting you? So even if you're only getting, say $200 a week, and you're experiencing a lot of, like, fear and mistrust, and it's like, oh my gosh, as soon as money comes in, it's out the door again, and I have to pay this person, and I have to pay this bill and that bill. But when you start looking at, okay, I have a choice of where this money can go, and if I'm not paying for, my groceries, then where does that leave me? So when you're looking at how that money is supporting you already and how abundant you actually are, because if you actually try and start tracking your money and what you're spending every day, I have people that say, oh, well, oh my gosh, it's too overwhelming. I can't sit down at the end of the day and figure out where all my money is gone. And I'm like, well, then stop saying that you're broke and you have no money, because you do have money. If you're having a hard time tracking where it's going and where you're spending it and how you're spending it and all the different ways that it comes in, because you can get, like, money in the form of cash, you can get it through your PayPal account, you can get it through the government, you can get it through, like, in the form of gifts. So if you're getting gift cards and you're spending money on Starbucks through your gift card, then that's still money coming in the door to you. So a lot of the times we discount, or we, exclude those kinds of things because we don't look at it as physical. It's not in our hands. It's not something that we can, like, touch in the form of money that can be spent however we want it, because it's that gift card and we have to spend it at that place. But I mean, a lot of the people, it's like, if they get a gift card for Starbucks, then that's, $10 or $20 a week. That is cash that they're not spending on Starbucks, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So, yeah, so it's looking at all the different forms and where you're at, knowing your numbers, because when you don't know your numbers, you're giving money power over you instead of having power over your money. So taking a look at your daily bank balance and knowing that it changes every day. And then what do you have coming up that week that you need to pay? How much do you need for gas? How much do you need for your bills? What kind of events are going on? Do you have, like, a wedding that's coming up or a birthday celebration? So it's looking at all of those things. And then how much you owe, because a lot of people too, when I ask them, How much money do you owe? They don't know. They
Mm-hmm.
say, oh, I think I owe about 30,000. And then when they actually look deeper into that, they're like, oh, geez, I owe 45.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, knowing the numbers definitely helps because then that gives you power over your money instead of having it
Mm-hmm.
control you.
What about like for people who maybe don't look at their numbers, or maybe use that excuse of it's too much, I can't keep track, because it's kind of scary for people, or overwhelming, or daunting? It's like confronting the reality of how maybe the money is, even though it's not where you want it to be. Like, do you have any tips or tools on doing that with more support or more compassion for yourself, so that you can actually honestly get a good picture where you're at, and not beat yourself up in the process, or feel so dejected through that activity that it becomes a positive experience? Versus, like, in the past, I've definitely avoided checking how much I owe or checking my accounts, because it's like it's so sad for me to do that, because it feels disempowering. But I love what you're talking about, like claiming that power over money. It's like, yeah, what kind of tools can help someone build that almost financial strength to kind of overcome maybe some areas that they're dissatisfied with, and actually jump in and look at those numbers?
Yeah. So then again, this is where, understanding it, just like with weight, right? Like it doesn't happen overnight. And we didn't get into this situation overnight. And knowing that it's temporary and it's something that we can change
Mm-hmm.
if we decide and make the decision that we do want to change it. And that, there's little things that we can do every single day to improve the situation. And this is something that you can tie back to a time in your life when you felt like, a situation or something was hopeless,
Mm-hmm.
and that you didn't feel that you had the ability to go through it. And then you look at, well, who was there to help me? Who was there to, teach me or guide me? Who was there to hold my hand and, allow me to just vent and lend that ear? And when you look at it from a perspective of, okay, this is something that's temporary, and how can I be kind to myself and know that this happened for a reason? And when you go back further into your story too and look at how you were taught about money,
Mm-hmm.
and that's another thing, because my parents never talked about money
Yeah.
unless it was, sorry, there's not enough. Sorry, you can't have that.
Or me.
Jennifer, like I just bought you new clothes last week.
Mm-hmm.
So no, I'm sorry. You're going to have to get a job or do something if you want that. It was always, talked about in such a negative way. And I wasn't really taught about how money worked.
Mm-hmm.
And, there was a lot of this belief around, well, money needs to be earned and you have to work
Mm-hmm.
hard for it. And if you're not working hard, you didn't earn it and you don't deserve it. So a lot of us, especially for entrepreneurs, when we are paving the way and we're putting a lot of money out at first to gain the tools and the knowledge and the strategy and everything that we want for our business. And then knowing that, along the way, we don't have to invest every single penny into our business back again once we start
Yeah.
making it, and we can have it support us in other ways. It's knowing that we're going to be supported and looking at that process and saying, okay, like what can I do right now? How can I, even if it's like taking $5 a week
Mm-hmm.
and saying, okay, I'm going to take this $5 a week and I'm going to call up my best friend and I'm going to go for coffee and, sit and like maybe even buy myself a little treat with, with my coffee or tea.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's finding the ways that we can have money support us in every way, and knowing that we're supposed to be, or we're exactly where we're supposed to be right now. And when we look at the numbers and we really accept where we're at, that's when we gain the power back.
Totally.
Because if we're not willing to look at it, then
Mm-hmm.
we're still giving our power away.
Absolutely. And for me too, like it took chunks. Like every time I, would sit down and look at my numbers, I got better at doing it and became less of a gut wrenching activity. And now it's like, okay, I can look at my numbers and we're excited. There's movement there. We're getting somewhere, and it feels really good. And you start to have more possibilities of, what comes next, what are you going to do in the future, how are things going to move, rather than how am I going to get through this week? It's what do I want to do next week? And you get to change that kind of perspective. When it comes to, after you kind of do that groundwork, that foundation work of understanding your numbers, where money's going, where's it coming from, how is it moving, and how is it, not, and doing that, when it comes to like the next stage of, okay, I see where my numbers are, but I still want more. What do you find, around creating money and our self-worth to create opportunities for ourselves? Because you talk a lot about, in like our own conversations I have with you, around creating money, rather than earning or making money, which is kind of how we normally talk about it. Where does creating money come into this like self-worth journey as well, and like stepping into your wants and your desires and your needs and all of that good juicy stuff?
So this is a good thing, and an exercise that I have done with my clients and that I've done myself as well is I look at, okay, how have I made money in the past? What was I giving more than receiving? And when I think of money now and how I want it to come in, what am I willing to do for money? And when I looked at, okay, I have my energy healing, I can do Reiki, I can do readings, I can do axiotonal alignment, and all of those things, I'm like, okay, that's one form of income that I would love to be able to provide, and I would be happy receiving money for that. And then when I looked at the coaching, and I'm like, okay, through coaching, I can do workshops, I can do one-to-one coaching, I can do group programs. There's so many different avenues of making money there as well. And I wanted to focus on what would make me feel really good about, about doing this, and how would people benefit from what I've already learned, and how would they respond to knowing all of this and going through this and having this, new awareness around what they can do to create money and how they can show up in their own gifts and for the people that they're going to help. And it's really exciting when you start thinking of the expansion of that, and how it doesn't become about you anymore, and it's about how you're helping these other people and how we're helping the planet, even because I work with a lot of people who are in the health industry and in healing, and when I think of that higher collective, so I worked with one couple that opened up a metaphysical store, and they do healings as well. They do Reiki, and they do readings and mediumship. And the amount of people that they have touched over the last couple of years, and the amount of people that have been helped and that they're teaching Reiki to, or they're helping them fully come into their gifts, and then how they're spreading it, it's like this domino effect. And when you think of it, well, like, oh my gosh, if I hadn't have reached out to them, and if I hadn't have made that offer, and if I hadn't have shown them like how much I believed in them, all of those people would have been deprived of that gift from them.
Yeah.
So, and when it's really amazing feeling of, well, it's not about me anymore. Like, yes, it's a business and it's here to make money, but it's also the collecting people expand and grow and heal on a higher level.
Which I totally love that. And I love that you're not focused on either, like, I'm so used to kind of a practice that people do. And it probably is a very good practice, but list 50 different ways you can make money today. What could you sell? What could you do? Could you clean something? Could you do this? Could you do that? And so often, to me, like those crunch time moments where I feel like I need money, my list of how I can create money is things that don't make me feel good. It's things that don't feel like my passion, my purpose, my desire, my intention that I actually truly want to create. So it's even too, recognizing you can create money in a way that is thriving rather than, just surviving and making money. And so I love that approach as well. It's like, what could you do that actually brings joy and creates an impact? And that's changing your relationship with how money comes in and how you feel about it and how you feel like you can earn it and create it and have it. So I truly love that so much. That and this reminds me too as well. So I was on the phone with you last night and kind of in a darker place and talking about like, what if this bad thing happens or this bad thing happens or this bad thing happens, and you stopped me and you were like, let's play the what if game. And in my head, the what if game has always been worst case scenario, would I still survive? How would I
Yeah.
get through the worst case scenario? And your what if was like, what if it all works out? What if you find the perfect space you want to live in? What if the relationship works out perfectly? What if all this stuff works out perfectly and wonderful and it's easy and it's good and it feels just so nice? And I just love that perspective and that thinking and that focus you have of like, we don't have to just focus on the worst case scenario. We
Yeah.
get to create from a higher place. One thing I do notice though is a lot of times people who are in survival mode are there because of fear. If I don't do this one small thing to make this $20 to pay this one bill, then I'm going to have a late fee and it's going to make, it's going to create a huge issue. And so that fear keeps people from thinking about the bigger picture and the higher perspective and what is possible. So like, how can people kind of choose to put that fear aside, I guess, to create the bigger ideas and the bigger dreams? Like, what do you notice, like, in terms of like how people do move through that fear and whatnot?
So one thing that I did was I called absolutely everybody that I owed. And so once I made out my list of these are the people that I owe, this is how much that's owing, this is where my numbers are, this is how much I'm currently making, this is what I would like to be making. I sat down and I thought, okay, what can I do first to generate more money? And who can help me with that? So I reached out to those people and they were like, yeah, totally, I'm on board. Like, let me know whatever you need and I will be there to help, which was amazing because it was so easy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when we get past that fear of like, oh, I don't want them to think that I'm a failure or that I like, we have this problem with asking for help, but I think that is so great because people are so willing and they're like, oh my gosh, that takes me like
Yeah.
with you. You help me with a few things technology wise that I
Mm-hmm.
would be wanting to throw my phone out the window and it would take me forever to figure it out. But you're like, oh yeah, that takes like 2 seconds. It's no problem. So when we get into that action of asking for help and reaching out and talking to people and having the conversations too, because I had to put myself in a space of, okay, when I'm calling the bank or I'm calling, the utility
Mm-hmm.
company, they're there to do a job. They're not there to sit there like they do this all day long. They don't
Mm-hmm.
sit there and go, "Oh my gosh, this person is a loser and they can't pay their bill." Like
Yeah.
it's they're getting paid to be there and they're getting paid to take that phone call from you to say, "Hey, like look, this is what's going on." And I think it says something too when they do get that phone call from somebody that says, "Hey, like I've been through a really challenging time, but this is what I'm doing to improve it. I would like to make a payment arrangement with you." They're like, "Oh my God, I don't have to pull your teeth to try and get money." Like, or work out an agreement with a company, like, because it has nothing to do with them again, right? They just
Mm-hmm.
represent the company. So I find that, it's very refreshing for them too to get that kind of an energy where it's like, oh my gosh, this person is like taking accountability and they're wanting to
Mm-hmm.
work something out and they're excited to get going and, making a plan and this is awesome, as opposed to having a fight with somebody on the phone and they're like crying and upset and they're like, oh my
Mm-hmm.
gosh, like, why are you calling me all the time? And so it totally creates that shift of power again, right? So you're
Mm-hmm.
taking control and you're taking power over your situation. And people are very understanding.
Mm-hmm.
And I found that a lot of companies too were like, okay, you know what, you're working on something really great. Let's work through this and figure out what we can do. So a lot of them were really cooperative because another thing too, it's like we got to keep in mind that those companies are established and they've been around for a long time. They have more flexibility to
Mm-hmm.
work with you as long as they know that you're willing to do something. It's when you're avoiding and you're like, not wanting to show up and you're not wanting to have the conversation or the discussion, that they're like, oh geez, we're not getting anywhere, like this
Mm-hmm.
is really frustrating. So when you open up and you have the conversation, it makes a world of difference, big
I love
time.
And it sounds like when you are proactive, it becomes fun. It becomes
Mm-hmm.
easy. It's like, it really does sound like a lot of the biggest fears when it comes to money are just like things that we kind of let block us. They don't have to. It's, we can choose to move past that and have fun and make it easy and call on our support system and let it flow. Which also brings me to what we are creating together, which is super, super exciting. We've been working on it for quite a while. I've been bringing the astrology aspect, and you're bringing the money aspect. Do you want to talk to everybody a little bit about this program, Cosmic Money Love?
Oh my God, Cosmic Money Love, so exciting. So you and I have been working on this for months now, and it was so easy too.
Yes.
Like there were things that happened in the process of creating this program. Like, you know, um, your grandmother had passed away,
Mm-hmm.
and the things that happened on my side with my health and things like that. And, you know, the more we talked though, and the more we started getting these ideas for how we can blend both of our gifts
Mm-hmm.
and create this program to help people understand that they have the power inside of them. And right now, with the planetary alignment and the
Mm-hmm.
way that the cosmos are flowing, there is a lot of exciting energy that's coming up. And combining, your birth chart and the way that the planets are bringing in this energy and our own unique gifts and talents, and customizing this program so that it feels good for you. So you
Mm-hmm.
have the tools and the guideline, almost like the map in front of you,
Yes, that's what.
of how
Yes.
to navigate through this time of energy and
Mm-hmm.
all everything that's flowing in, and then taking where you're currently at, knowing how you can move through it. And as in because, like, I don't like the cookie cutter programs that say if you follow these 7 steps, this is
You're
where you're
good.
going to be.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, you know the steps are great, but they don't work for everybody, and everybody has a unique way of showing up.
Mm-hmm.
And so once you figure out like how you can show up and what is written for you, like, so finding that purpose and really diving into it, because this is a time when a lot of people are looking at changing what they're doing, or they're looking at doing more or adding more into what they're already doing, and it's like, how can I make a bigger impact? So this program is really going to help you figure out how you can really tap into your own soul purpose and what
Mm-hmm.
you're wanting to do and how you're wanting to create the money and the abundance to flow in, so that all the other areas of your life become easier as well. So your relationships, your partnerships, um, the family dynamic, and the way that we're treating ourselves and our bodies. And so it's like becoming this, I call it the leaky bucket syndrome, where you have, like, this one is patched up and fixed, but
Mm-hmm.
this one starts leaking out. So this is a way to fix that leaky bucket, and saying, okay, like, let's take all these different areas and
Mm-hmm.
figure out how they all fit and how money can support that, and how you can find your purpose and really create that joy from your purpose and make money at the same time. So I think that's super exciting, because this is something that's really unique, and I've never seen anything done like this before. And I've taken part in some group programs that didn't really touch on that, and I
Mm-hmm.
think that was really needed. So having like the weekly trainings with
Mm-hmm.
all the PDF worksheets of how you can move through that, how you feel about something, and where you can shift your thoughts and feelings, and then having something that is like specifically designed for this. And then
Mm-hmm.
the card readings, and our card pulls, and you explaining about the planets and birth charts. And I think it's just amazing, amazing.
And I'm like so excited for it. And it takes all the stuff we talked about today and like builds that container of support around it, looking at your money and, you know, focusing on what you want to create, shifting your energy, focusing on how you feel and moving things through. And, you know, I really do agree that like it's definitely going to be a program that's different than the rest. And we really did sit out and talked about like how there is this whole notion of like with the strategies and the plans, like just follow these steps and you'll be successful. And it's definitely like that's a very masculine way of being, and we want to celebrate the masculine, but we want to incorporate the feminine too. So we're going to talk a lot about like how do you allow, you know, attraction to serve you well, which the energy that rules money in astrology is ruled by the feminine. It's Venus is the feminine. It is relationships, it's money, it's love, it's self-worth, it's attraction. And so how do we kind of balance that energy of, you know, the masculine, the actions we're going to take? Like, yeah, there's still structure, there's still the PDFs, there's still the worksheets and the support we're going to move through, but how do you make it individual and how do you make it just for you? And I'm so excited for it.
And adding in a lot of fun along the way too.
It's
Like
gonna be fun. It is gonna be really,
you know,
really
it's not one of those things where it's like struggle, and
yeah.
you know, like yes, there's going to be peeling away layers, and yes, there's going to be aha moments, and there's going to be probably some tears too, but you know, a lot of fun and a lot of play with this and experimentation. And yeah, it's like I'm super excited for it.
It's like it mirrors the relationship that we are using this program to help you have with money. Like we want money to become fun and easy, and yeah, there might be moments of like a lot of emotions and stuff like that. There may be good tears and stuff, but we want to support you guys and show you that, you know, the whole process around money gets to feel good. And it's not just once you do all the dirty deep dive work and pull all those teeth, then things get to feel good. No, it's along the way as well. So like having fun is a huge, huge part of this program, and it's so exciting. Like it really, it's a good one. So,
and I like that there's the two of us there to support everybody along the way, because you know it's like double the support. So yeah, I'm very excited.
Yes, it is. So to find out more about that, we will be officially opening the doors Monday, correct? I know
Monday the 19th,
but we're waiting till Monday the 19th. If you are interested and you want us to kind of notify you when the doors do open, you can let us know in the comments below, and we'll reach out to you when they do open. You can also follow my page, follow Raise a Harmony for more, because we'll definitely be posting that.
And I love the timing of it too, because end of September into December, so 3 months, like the last quarter of the year, right? So it's covering all of the things that are coming up and what we're looking forward to in 2020 and what's going to be happening then. And, you know, we're going to be going through Halloween and Thanksgiving with this as well. So yeah, so many exciting things that are coming up, and like the timing is just perfect. And I think having the 12 weeks to really dive into this and you know, support everybody, I think it's perfect. Perfect timing.
Teresa says, yes, please notify me. What an awesome program. 3 red hearts. You know, I'm all about building wealth and have fun. Can't wait. Hashtag you can be a millionaire. And I definitely bonded with Teresa in the past around like that goal of wanting to be a billionaire or a millionaire, and like having that kind of ambition and that desire, even as spiritual beings, people who promote love and compassion, and breaking that, you know, stereotype that money is not good. It totally is, and it's good to want it.
It is,
and have it flowing in your life. So I'll definitely let you know, Teresa. And then Donna says, yes, I have been keeping track. So we were talking about the numbers. She said she's been keeping track. There's been a lot of duplicate numbers. Do you mean like 333222, or do you mean like, what do you mean by duplicate numbers, Donna, if you're still on? But yeah, so this, oh my God, I'm so excited about this. Donna says, yes, she'll be notified. Okay, so if we have any questions left about anything we talked about today, the cosmic money love, or just the, you know, self-worth and money and how you can kind of shift that, please let us know. If you're on replay, hashtag replay. We'll be here as well. Go like Raise a Harmony, follow Jennifer, stay present with what she's doing, because everything she puts out is really juicy, really amazing, really wonderful. Donna said, yes, it's 222111. So that's a beautiful way to, you know, I'm very much into numerology and angel numbers and messages like that. And it's not something I do all the time, but it's a great way for our guides to communicate with us. And so how cool is it that as you're moving through your money, you're getting those angel messages too? Like how often, you know, like I even the other day in my bank account, I got an email from, or a text message from what tracks my money for me, and was like, your account has changed by $7.77. Want to know how? But that number, that 777, like totally has a vibration to it, and it's the way our angels are kind of showing us that like we're okay, we're good, where things are growing, like you're doing things in the right direction. And it's important with this Uranus and Taurus transit, which is a 7-year transit. It started last year. We have like 6 more years to go. The retrograde is only 5 months, don't worry. But it's a huge transit, and it is calling us to change this relationship with money in a better, empowered way. And we get to choose what that looks like for ourselves too, which is super exciting. Okay, so if we don't have any other questions, please let me know. Donna says yes often this last 2 weeks. So there's like up in the AMC right now. I love it. It's perfect timing too with all this energy. Please let us know. We'll be on the replay. Sorry, I'm like trying to frazzled. So yeah. So any questions, please let us know. Thank you so much, Jennifer, for joining me today. I am so grateful I get to talk to you and share this money juiciness with everybody, because it really is something I'm truly so passionate about. Helping people, connect with the fact that you can make money and create money and do it beautifully and abundantly and be aligned and have fun with it.
And allow it to support everything you want and need.
Yes, want and need. Both of those are so important as well. And thank you everyone for joining us today as well.
There we go.
Uh-oh. Did I lose you? Okay.
Yes. Thank you so much, Katie, for having me.
Of course, thank you. All right. I will see you guys tomorrow. Also, to an update, Thursday and Fridays guests have gotten switched because of scheduling, so I will update that with a new cover photo for everybody as well. But if you're wanting to listen to sound therapy, that will be that'll be Friday, and if you're wanting to listen to breaking patterns and living authentically, that will be Thursday now. So other than that, I will see you guys tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Bye, you guys.